The final cross-examination, a spoiler. Hey guys, here we go, I'm back here with attorney Spirit of Justice. Sorry for being all looking like a wet cat. I just had to shovel because it's Canada and it's March. I don't think you can see much snow left on me. There's like a little bit on my arm. Nah, it doesn't really show up on the camera. Well, this is the final cross-examination? Damn it! So I ruined this whole case. A sad way for this to go, to be sure, but it's done now, so... Let's just try and not mess it up quite so hard in the last little bit here. The only note I have is that, it's completely random thought, I was thinking about case 1-1, the first case in the first game, and the final case of the final, Dual Destinies. And it occurred to me that Phoenix's whole, thing where he's kind of stubborn in his worldview, that sort of puts him at odds with Apollo, was kind of foreshadowed. Like, it's consistent with his character in 1-1, where he's astonished at the possibility that, the Solwit dude would lie. He's lying? No way, I don't believe. It's that innate desire that you have to believe in the good of people, and if you doubt them, you're a bad person. Anyway, that's sort of, it was completely random thought that struck me. I was lying in bed, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I wrote it down in my book. All right, apparently we're in the final cross-examination according to my save file, so let's finish this case today, I guess. I was expecting it to be a lot longer. We've just unveiled that Roger Rayton's is mysterious, which they foreshadowed also with the coin, like I was saying. Writing. Yes, I think you'd better please tell the court more about your alibi. Let's hear this, because we know the nature of it has changed dramatically, now that we know you're, a magician. Very well then, on with the show. Are you watching, Manaphy Gramarye? The time has finally come for my magic to snuff out your precious pedigree. The Gramarye line will be no more. Everyone heard that, right? He just admitted to hating the Gramaryes. That's super cool, the reflection of the fire in his eyes. Staring right into the fires of hell. Ah, neat.
Witness, testimony, my perfect alibi.
I was at the TV station at the time of the Penrose performance. I was busy working on another TV program. I could spare no time for the magic show. Do ask my staff if you doubt my claim. And there it is, a simple and perfect alibi. No tricks, no gimmicks, just the truth. I saw nothing odd about that, so is Apollo or Athena's superpower gonna come to the rescue here? I do wonder indeed. Either that or we're gonna have to push a heck of a lot on it. Do you understand now, perhaps? I did not grace the theater with my presence until after the incident. So if you murdered them, you had to have done it by rigging up the pulleys weirdly or something. I still don't really understand how he found someone who looked exactly like he did when he was a younger lad. You know, save the scar, I guess. But it's probably one of those things that just don't worry about it. Because worrying about it will make you sad. And that's not what this game is about. Well, actually, this game is a lot about making you sad. The series historically is pretty good at that. So how could I have committed the murder? His staff did say he was there at the station, so it sure does sound like a rock-solid alibi. But that can't be right. If Mr. Rayton is the killer, he'd have to have been at the theater. There's gotta be a hole somewhere in his story. I assure you there are no holes on Mr. Rias's stage. Except for the hole in the dead guy. No tricks, no gimmicks. True magic doesn't need trapdoors to escape through. You use the same catchphrase as her, though, so you really gotta get your own thing. Do enjoy my show to the fullest, and my real alibi. I enjoy...
Cross-examination. My perfect alibi.
I was at the TV station at the Penrose performance, blah, 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 blah. I was busy working on blah, 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 blah. Do ask my head if you doubt my blah, blah, blah. And there it is, blah, blah, and blah, 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 blah. No blah, blah, no blah, blah, just the blah, blah. The perfect alibi, huh? It's no good, Apollo. I can't find a hole anywhere. There's gotta be some kind of trick to it. I just know there's a trapdoor in there somewhere. That's the second time they've mentioned trapdoors. Let me just push on these 4 in case it's one you're supposed to push on everything, because I apparently am very bad at recognizing them. Hold it! But you did come to the theater eventually, isn't that right? Indeed. Anxious to see how the show was progressing, I made my way to the theater. Let's see, my journey took about 10 minutes by car. And when was that? Could he actually have been at the theater during those 10 minutes, killing the victim? Allow me a stab at reading your mind. Wow, you really shouldn't be saying stab like that. Aha! Could I have been at the theater during those 10 minutes killing the victim? How in that... But no, I took a taxi. The driver can attest to that. Feel free to call the taxi company if my word does not satisfy you. The driver is a big fan of the Raytons, Raja. I even gave him my card. He gave the driver his card? That was very clever of him. You might as well give it up, lad. Questioning real magic is a fool's errand. Well, we're just taking his word for that, but I guess that's their way of saying don't pursue that. Besides, you know very well what I was doing at the time of the incident. Which was working on another TV program. Hold it! What was this other TV show you were working on? My own special project, you see. One moment. Perhaps this is more appropriate. It's a Raytons Raja special production. Yeah, hang loose, baby. It's called Desperation Regeneration. Switch personas just to say that. What's the show about? Washed up has-been singers and comedians get together and play musical chairs. The winner of the game is given a second chance at their career. A priceless prize for chumps who washed up too early in life. Sounds great, right? Might I suggest you appear on that show, Mr. Justice? As the ex-lawyer who used to make ridiculous bluffs in court and faded sadly into obscurity. And let the ratings Raja produce my TV debut? Not in this lifetime. You have great reactions. Who knows? TV might be your true calling. Hey, whose side are you on? In any case, I was overseeing production of this program during the Penrose performance. If you say so, I do ask my staff if hold it! You don't get to talk before I say my thing. How do we know those staff members aren't in cahoots with you? I make it my business to perform solo. My magic has neither need nor want of assistance. After all, one of them could reveal the secrets behind my magic, could they not? So, he doesn't trust anybody, huh? He's the complete opposite of Trucy. There were many people in the studio audience who saw the witness as well. Even if he had been able to persuade his own staff to cover for him, he could not have convinced so many complete strangers to do the same. What do you mean? People in the studio audience who saw the witness? If they were in the studio audience and they saw him, doesn't that mean he was there? I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean they saw him outside? Because anyone can see him outside, that doesn't mean he wasn't inside ever. He really has made a rock-solid alibi for himself. Yeah, it's almost too good, you know? It's eerie how perfect it is. Well, it's certainly planned, for one reason or another, even if he isn't the killer, but it seems like he is. Has all been revealed to you now. There it is, a simple and perfect alibi, no tricks, no gimmicks, just the truth. Hold it! I've got it! Do you have a brother? A brother that looks exactly like you, maybe? Again with the twins business? You think the audience will let you get away with using the same gimmick twice in a row? Sorry, you think that was me? Who made them twins somehow? You're crazy, dude! I have no idea what you're talking about. If you do not believe him, Defense, why not investigate for yourself? Though I am sure your efforts will prove to be thoroughly fruitless. Yeah, I guess the twins theory is a little far-fetched. Right, we were supposed to push on everything. Good. Good. This alibi really is airtight. I believe we've heard enough. While I believe the witness does indeed harbor some ill will against the defendant, there is no reason to doubt that he was at the TV station at the time of the incident. Yes, the facts prove it was impossible for the witness to have been involved with this crime. They don't prove that. If he was all over that set. He said to himself he'd been dragged to that set many times, and there's still the mystery of how Mr. Hat got all cut up. Two shadows coming down at once. Well, not coming down at once, but there's the shadow of Mr. Hat going up, but then there's the shadow of something else. Shadow goes up, and that's Mr. Hat leaving the scene, we're pretty sure. Oh, we still have the doctored version. That's funny. Why does that shake the camera, by the way, when she stabs the thing? And then right before the dragon comes, shadow also going up. I feel like the second shadow has something to do with how was maybe when the camera zoomed in, maybe something was brought down at some point, like before the coffin got opened, stabbed into his back, like the back flap opened, like a hook stabbed into it, and then that was the thing being brought back up or something. I don't know. Yes, the facts prove that it was impossible for the witness to have been involved with this crime. Yeah. There's so much we haven't learned about the what was all in all the pulleys yet that has to come into play. These last rites for the victim have dragged on long enough. The soul of the victim himself is so bored that it is resting on top of Your Honor's head. It is? I used him looking up from when Taka used to hang out there. The time has come. Let us punish the sinner and guide the victim's soul to the Twilight Realm. Apollo, Trucy will be thrown in prison, and we'll be out of a job. But if you catch tasty fishies, will you sell me some at a good price? I told you, I have absolutely zero intention of going on a tuna boat. Think, Justice. You have to figure this out. It's no use. I can't find a single flaw, so what now? Behold my never-ending magic show. Come for the awe-inspiring showmanship of the great Mr. Reyes, and stay for my grand illusion until the end of time. Wait, is he saying that we're still trapped inside some sort of illusion of his? That's what professional magicians do. They make their audience see something that isn't really there. that isn't really there. In other words, you make us see illusions, right? We call it misdirection. When we keep you busy believing one thing, we're busy making something else happen. What we say is there really isn't, and what we say isn't there actually is. I don't see how it applies yet. Could it be... You know what, Mr. Ratons? I guess we have all been spectators to the elaborate illusion you prepared for us. An illusion that has suddenly turned our attention towards something you wanted us to see. What are you going on about, lad? Have you got something, Apollo? I just remembered something Trucy said about misdirection. What a magician says is there really isn't, and what they say isn't there actually is. If we've all been taken for a ride by Mr. Ratons' magic, then maybe he's made us see something that wasn't really there. It's time to rethink all of my assumptions about this case. Let's see if I can figure out what Apollo's getting at. Made us see something that wasn't really there. Only thing I can really come to is maybe the body wasn't... Well, no, I guess we already said that fake Mr. Rios, Man of Mystery, was in the coffin up till his death. Well, they haven't proved that, they just said it. Like, they showed a video, but that doesn't prove it. Maybe it's got something to do with the dragon, because again, that still isn't in the prank plan script. I'm gonna make an idiot of myself. I keep trying to guess. So what are you talking about, Apollo? What have we been made to believe was there when it actually wasn't? What have we taken to be the absolute facts of this case? I was thinking maybe the body was a fake earlier on, but I don't have anything, no grounds to really think that. If I reevaluate the validity of all of these things, then just maybe... Athena, there's something uncanny about this case. Okay, what is it? Ratons' alibi. It's too perfect. That's true. It's like it's impossible to break no matter how hard we try, and the other thing that was too perfect was the dragon. So I guess that's what they're getting at here. But maybe that's the trick. Maybe that's exactly what he wants us to think. I'm not following? We're not making any headway here because we've been so focused on breaking his alibi. Oh, I think I get it. You're saying he's used misdirection on us, right? I guess what they're saying is his alibi is fine because he didn't actually need to be in the room to kill him? It's definitely a possibility. Would the defense care to share with everyone what it's discussing over there? Your Honor, we believe that if we were to reconsider a certain assumption, we may finally arrive at the truth. Or they're going to ask me which one. In fact, I think we'll even finally see who's hiding behind the curtain, so to speak. And what is this certain assumption you're thinking of? This is the one key assumption we've been taking for granted this whole time. Roger Ratons' guilt, the culprit was on scene, the crime scene. I think it's this. He didn't necessarily need to be there if there were all these intricate pulley systems that he could have made to kill Mr. Ratons. And I still don't understand why it said he died from shock. What if the culprit was somewhere other than the theater at the time of the crime? What if there was some way to commit the murder without actually being there? If that were the case, then Mr. Ratons' perfect alibi would become irrelevant! Objection. How could one person stab another to death with a sword without physically being there? Furthermore, we all saw what appears to be the culprit's shadow in the footage. I don't understand that. The shadow goes up into the ceiling. How could that possibly mean it's Trucy? That logic of theirs just goes right over my head. Objection! But couldn't we just as easily assume that the shadow does not belong to the culprit? Well, if it's not the culprit, then whose is it? I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm on the right track. We've all seen something that looks like this shadowy shape before, Your Honor, during the magic show itself. In that case, please point it out in the show footage for us. This is the thing that looks suspiciously similar to the shadowy figure of the culprit. It's Mr. Hat, but we already knew that, so I don't know why this is... Oh, sorry, but... Take that! Mr. Justice, how does that even remotely resemble this shadowy figure? I thought it looked pretty similar. Do you not think so? Not in the slightest? Huh? That's funny. It looks pretty shady to me. And all logic is even shadier. Okay, now I'm really confused. Wait, I thought the whole point was that the first shadow was Mr. Hat going up, right? What resembles the shadowy figure seen on stage? Do they want us to say Bonny? Because it doesn't look nearly like her the same way it does Mr. Hat. Unless they just want me to point out the other shadow. That's not what they're saying, is it? No, it can't be. Well, whatever, we're down the rabbit hole. I've already died a billion... rabbit hole, I get it, because there's a bunny assistant on stage. Jokes. Oh, and Alice in Wonderland, also. I'm full of humor today. Wait, hang on. They don't just want me to... But this shadow is Mr. Hat. Isn't it? Doesn't this shadow resemble the suspicious shadowy figure? Now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? I'm so confused. Didn't we already point out that it's the same shadow both times? What? That was like the first thing they said about it. Didn't wait, hang on. I must be going mad. Athena surely said when we first saw those, look, there are two shadows. One here and then one right there. So I thought it was already taken for as fact that they were the same shadow. And what's more, to be fair, Trucy only told us that it was Mr. Hat, but that still doesn't explain why everyone forgot about the first shadow, I guess. Miss Wright, could you identify this shadow for the court? Let's see. I believe that's Mr. Hat's shadow. It's from when he's being pulled up from the stage to the catwalk overhead by wire. Then could this shadow that's shown later in the footage be Mr. Hat too? No, that's not possible. After Mr. Hat was pulled up to the catwalk, he stayed up there. In other words, this second shadow is from some other figure being pulled up. Some other figure? I'm afraid you'll need to be more specific than that, Mr. Justice. He's right. We've come this far. I'll just have to figure it out from the clues I have on hand. What is the second shadow shown in the footage? Right, this I don't know. This is the question. This is the $3 million question. And they do say some other figure, but I'm not allowed to select profiles here, so it has to be something I have evidence for. Well, I mean, he's got his little, I guess they want me to say Mr. Rios because he's got this thing. He was pulled up to the catwalk and then stabbed, I guess. It's the only thing that really comes to mind, even though this shadow was was the same size as Mr. Hat's shadow, and Mr. Rios is about twice his height. It doesn't really make sense to me, but it's the only piece of evidence that has any connection to being pulled up on a wire, so take that. If we consider what was happening on the stage at the time, there's only one answer. The shadow belonged to the fake Mr. Rios. In other words, Mr. Man of Mystery. The victim? Please take a look at the prank plan script. Mr. Mystery was supposed to pretend to be dead and then fly up into the air after that. Oh, okay, fair enough, I guess. Except he's not laughing. Oh, well, we don't have audio. I was assuming that... I don't know. Who knows what I was assuming. Mr. Mystery was to pretend to be dead and then fly up in the air after that. Isn't that right, Mr. Ratens? Indeed, and what of it? I contend that that's exactly what happened. The victim was wearing a stunt harness around his waist. It was most likely attached to a stunt wire so that he could be pulled up into the air. So you're suggesting that after pretending to be dead in the coffin, the victim flew up into the air just as the prank script says? Exactly. We just couldn't see him go flying up because the dragon was blocking our view. And that last trick, ladies and gentlemen, is the true pièce de résistance to the culprit's murderous magic show. Don't tell me you've got it all figured out. Yes, I think so. If we can just look beyond Mr. Ratens' last bit of misdirection, we should finally be able to see the real truth. The victim must have been pulled up to the catwalk just like Mr. Hat, and hit the cushioning up there with considerable force. I just have to figure out what else happened up there at that time. Are you ready to elaborate, Mr. Justice? Are they gonna say that Mr. Hat was still holding the steel sword? Or a steel sword? Maybe a second one? And they just, flung Man of Mystery up into him? Are you ready to elaborate, Mr. Justice? Yes, Your Honor. I'm ready. In that case, please answer me this. Why did the culprit make the victim fly into the air like that? Falsify an alibi to murder him. I think that was when he died. Just why did the culprit have the victim fly in after he appeared into the coffin? And how did the victim actually die when he was only pretending to be dead in the coffin? If we can figure out how these two questions relate, the answer should become clear. Could it be? Mr. Mystery must have thought he was still just part of a prank when he appeared on stage. He probably didn't suspect a thing as he was being pulled into the air, after Miss Wright was called backstage, and just as the set piece fell. But the culprit had already planted the real murder weapon in a cushion in the catwalk. It was probably a knife or blade of some sort, right? Because we found Mr. Hat sort of crumpled on top of the cushion. That makes sense. What? You mean... Yes, it really was a magical murder. Just as the prank script said, Mr. Mystery was whisked up into the air and straight into a blade there in the catwalk. So once again, he was killed with magic and not under stage. In other words, this murder was committed remotely through the use of a magic trick. What? Remotely? Using this method, it wouldn't matter where Mr. Ratens was at the time of death. Chatter, chatter, gobble, gobble, whisper, whisper. But how exactly does it work, Mr. Justice? Oh God, we didn't have all this before. Please. Just before the murder occurred, the dragon set piece was up in the catwalk. It and Men of Mystery were connected to each other by a wire at the time. By carrying out the prank plan, Betty made the dragon set piece fall, which caused Mr. Mystery to rocket straight up and into the blade in the cushion. I knew there was something weird about the placement of those pulleys. But man, that means Betty was like a proper accessory to the murder? That's her involuntary manslaughter on her, isn't it? Oh no, poor Betty. She's a bit nasty, but I don't feel like she's deserves that. The cushion was high up enough to be hidden from the audience's view. That's why nobody saw the blade. Doesn't have any proof that Mr. Wright set it up, though, I guess. Oh, and that big gash in Mr. Hat's cape! The blade must have been set up overhead sometime before the magic show. Mr. Hat must have been slashed by it too, when he was pulled up to the cushion. So it wasn't that he was pushing the sword down himself. Hold it! I can't believe it. I had no idea. I was told that Trucy would freak out if I made the set piece fall. That's the only reason I did it. You were used, Betty. Roger Rayton's used you. I thought he was my little puppet to boss around, but it was the other way around. After the incident occurred, Mr. Rayton's arrived at the theater. He got the murder weapon and swapped the rubber sword with the bloodied steel one. That's also when he lowered the victim's body down to the stage. But how did he have time to do all that? When the set piece fell, the audience was evacuated from the building. He was able to do all those things after the fact because there was no one around to see. And the show camera mysteriously stopped working! Oh no, I guess he edited that part out. A horrific murder camouflaged by a spectacular magic show. That sounds like the kind of murder only a magician could pull off. As long as the show proceeded as it was scripted, Mr. Mystery was doomed to die. That's why. It was you, Mr. Raytons, who killed the victim, all the way from the TV station. This prank plan, or should I say murder plan, proves your murderous intent. Grammary! Shotara! Enough. You dim-witted, ignorant, imbecilic, putrid red pepper. He can't possibly have a counter-argument to make. Talk about not knowing when to let it go and move on. Do you have a rebuttal or something, Prosecutor Sanmari? No blade of any kind was found in the catwalk, which means you have no evidence to support your theory. No. He just said the blade that was in the catwalk was the bloodied one that was then planted on stage. But I can see how, with all the steam flying out your ears, you missed that bit. He got the murder weapon and swapped the rubber sword with the bloodied steel one. That's also when he lowered the victim's body down the stage. Now do you see, Sanmari? Good. Okay, good. We're on the same page now. But Mr. Rayton's retreated after the fact. Which still leaves you with no way to prove your wildly fantastic remote murder theory. I wouldn't say no way. If Trucy's a magician worth her salt, and I believe she is, then not even Mr. Raytons knows where the actual steel sword used in the scene went. So all she has to do is tell us where the real steel sword was, because there's the steel sword, the rubber sword, and then the bloody steel sword. All we have to do is find the real steel sword, and Trucy just tells us where. She didn't tell us earlier. She said she didn't want to spoil it. If you could just spoil that now, Trucy, please. But without proof, does it not make more sense to believe that the murder was committed there on the stage? That's where the bloodstained sword was found, after all. That is a very good point. As the only person who could have committed the crime there on that stage, Trucy Wright remains the prime suspect. It would appear that what you call truth is little more than a cheap parlor trick. In the end, you have done nothing to prove the accused's innocence. It is time at last to let it go and move on. Are you seeing this, Manifee Grammary? My magic is exacting punishment on your granddaughter. The Grammary name is done for. Paul, we need to hit them with a decisive piece of evidence here. I know. That's just what I was thinking. Mr. Justice, do you or don't you have anything to prove that the witness committed this remote murder you proposed? Of course I do, Your Honor. This entire incident was carried out exactly according to the script. Right, so theoretically there should be no evidence for us to find or use, which means our best bet is to see if something unscripted happened. There's gotta be something Raytons couldn't have foreseen. And once I find it, that's how I'll expose his murderous trick. Get ready, Mr. Raytons, because I'm about to reveal the secret to your magic. Well, I still feel like the dragon, though apparently he planned it, was not mentioned here. There are no tricks or gimmicks here, just some good old-fashioned logic! Oh, we're doing this again, right! I forgot this would be a thing in this game. Alrighty then. As long as the magic show went as scripted, the murder would happen without fail. Oh, this animation is so much cooler in this game! Holy crap! Everything in this case was carefully planned so that no evidence would be left behind. Still, one thing happened that definitely wasn't in the plan. What part of the magic show wasn't part of the original script? The set piece falling. No, that can't be it. It was quite a shock when that set piece fell, but that was part of the prank plan. What? No? Mr. Rias's body will appear in the supposedly empty coffin, which should cause a big ruckus. After capturing a bit of Trucy's reaction on film, Mr. Rias will come back to life, laughing and flying up into the air, causing another round of surprise. Wait, what? Why does it say the set piece falling here? Oh, okay, never mind. I missed that. Sorry, the summary has other details from what's actually in the script. Sorry, Apollo was just asking what was different from the actual original show. Which would be Bonny's mistake, I guess. Well, actually, none of the three of these are part of the show's original script? That's a weird question, but Bonny's mistake, I guess, is what they're getting at. So they're getting at he wouldn't have been able to set up the blade. He was trying to set up the blade on the different side or something? I don't understand yet what they're getting at. Bonny made a mistake during Trucy's escape trick. What mistake did Bonny make during the magic trick? Her life choices, Mr. Hat's positioning. Mr. Hat was placed in the wrong spot. Because Bonny placed Mr. Hat to the right of the coffin instead of the left, Trucy had to reappear on the side of the coffin opposite the one in the show's script. But the culprit didn't know that when he first arrived at the theater, which means he was bound to make a slip-up when he tampered with the crime scene. Which part of the culprit's cover-up attempt was affected by Trucy's new position? You got me. I don't know where the blood on the coffin hole was. Sadmati says it was on the side that Trucy ended up on, which is the right side from the audience's perspective. Oh, well, the fingerprints on the coffin because Mr. Rias was facing the wrong way or something? I don't see how Mr. Hat being on either side impacts this. I have no idea what's going on here. I guess they're getting at the edited show footage. They're saying, he cut that. Did he cut it, or did he ask someone else to do it? Because that would answer that. And I guess if we don't know that, then they wouldn't ask us to know that. Because, like, maybe what they're saying is he cut... Well, that doesn't matter anyway, because the sword was on the middle cushion. So, never mind. Fingerprints. Nope. No, that's not right. Even if Trucy's position changed, that wouldn't affect the placement of the fingerprints on the outside of the coffin. Besides, Trucy didn't even leave any fingerprints. So in that case, I guess the blood? But I don't see what we found the blood. The blood was on the wrong side of the coffin too? Thinking Trucy appeared in the left, the culprit must have put the blood in the left hole. But Nayuta Sadmati said it was on the right. Didn't he? But the blood was eventually discovered in the right hole during the police investigation. If the killer had originally put the blood on the left side, that means he went back to change it, is what you're getting at? Oh, and that's why the fingerprints are wrong, because he put the coffin back together the wrong way or whatever. He must have tampered with the scene again afterwards to make it line up with the facts. So I'm so lost. They're saying he put the blood after the set piece fell and everyone fled. He put blood on the wrong coffin hole and somehow learned about the mistake that was made in the scene and then was able to just break into a police investigation that was ongoing and put it back. So they swapped the coffin size is what they're getting at, but I have no idea how they explain like what they're trying to get at here. The culprit swapped the coffin sides, right? That's right. The left and right panels of the coffin are interchangeable. The culprit must have switched the two panels to make the bloodstain fit the facts. But the switch might have also given rise to something unnatural. Oh, I remember now. There was something unnatural about the coffin. It's just the evidence I need, which is the fact that Maria's fingerprints were backwards. I've got no idea how this proves anything. Sorry, Mr. Ratons, but I have some very conclusive proof of your guilt. Another bluff, is it? There's no way you have anything of the kind. My magic is real. No objections! No tricks or gimmicks, I get it. No, there are tricks and gimmicks to it, just like any other illusion. What? After the murder, you switched the left and right panels of the coffin, didn't you? And because you did, you left behind something very unnatural for us to find. This proves that Roger Ratons tampered with the crime scene after the murder took place. Take that! The fingerprinting results. What about the fingerprints is unnatural? Let's take a look at the prints the victim left inside the coffin, shall we? If the victim was facing forward in the coffin, his prints should have looked like this. However, what we found was they were facing the opposite direction. It's quite unnatural for the prints to be facing this way, wouldn't you agree? It is strange, isn't it? But how did they get this way? And how does this prove Ratons had anything to do with it? They got this way because the culprit thought the magic show had gone according to script. The culprit thought Mr. Hat would be on the left side of the coffin. And that Miss Wright would also pop to the left of the coffin as per the show's script. He then assumed she had thrust the sword into the hole on the left side of the coffin. That's why he put blood in the left hole when he was trying to cover up his crime. But sometime after leaving the bloodstain, the culprit must have realized his mistake. Oh, okay, I get what they're saying. It was all at the same time. He showed up on scene to tamper with it, put the blood on the left side, then went up to the, up top to get Mr. Rias's body off of the ceiling, at which point he was like, oh, wait a minute, why is Mr. Hat on the wrong side? Clearly, something went wrong during the show, I have to have the blood on the other side, so then he went back down at that same point, and then he was like, well, there's already blood here, there's no way to get this off, I'll just swap the sides. Okay, man, he was there for like an hour then, before the police showed up. He found out that due to Bonnie's mistake, Mr. Hat was to the right of the coffin. And that despite the script, Miss Wright had thrust the sword into the hole on the right. In short, the hole with the blood in it was on the side opposite the one that Trucy used. To make the blood's location fit the facts, he had to tamper with the evidence yet again. So he tried to cover his tracks by switching the coffin's left and right panels. Oh! And that's how the fingerprints in the coffin ended up backwards. Because the culprit switched the two side panels around, the prints ended up facing the opposite direction. But instead of going to all that trouble with the panels, why didn't the culprit just wipe the blood away and redo it on the other side? I'm afraid that wouldn't have worked, Your Honor, because of a little something called luminol testing. Ah, right. Luminol. I almost forgot. Luminol can detect trace amounts of blood even if it's been wiped away, right? That's right. Wiping the blood away would have only served as proof of his meddling. How about it, Mr. Ratons? I did a pretty good job figuring out your trick, didn't I? Oh, I guess the sword didn't go all the way through him, did it? Well, now that I think about it, the bloodied sword has blood all the way, like, thicker than a person's body. So to get that much blood on it, it would have had to go through him, but I guess... You know what? I don't really understand. That sword was definitely long enough to go all the way through him, right? But we never... They didn't say the sword went all the way through, did they? But it would have had to. And if that was the case, there would be blood both on the coffin hole she stabbed through and the one on the other side. So this... Whatever. They're saying that's not what happened, it's fine. I know he didn't actually get stabbed in the coffin, but, like, I'm saying if that's what they thought, then it wouldn't have mattered which side the blood was on, if there was blood on both sides anyway. But I guess I'm wrong about that as well. How about it, Mr. Ratons? I did a pretty good job figuring out your trick, didn't I? Objection. Trucy Wright could have done the same just as easily. You have no proof that it was this witness who tampered with the evidence. Objection! Ah, but I do have proof. What? A person who was in the magic show would never have made the mistake of putting the blood on the wrong side. Least of all Miss Wright, who surely would have remembered she was on the other side. Oh my! You're absolutely right! Why would Trucy plant blood on it anyway? To prove that she was the killer? You impudent... I'm sure you've realized by now, Prosecutor Sadmati, that your claim that Miss Wright is the culprit just doesn't hold up. You and the accused are most certainly bound for hell. Objection! Really? Miss Wright and I? Because I think you're the one with a ticket there for trying to convict an innocent girl. Oh man, and the rosary goes a-flying. Oh my god, how did that many beads hit him in the face? Prosecutor Sadmati, are you alright? Yeah, it doesn't matter, Your Honor. All that matters is that cute Bonnie's alright. As for the true culprit, He is someone who knew how the show was supposed to go, but didn't actually see it, and someone who had the chance to tamper with the crime scene after the incident. And the only person who fits the bill is you, Roger Rains. Gramarye! All of the secrets to your tricks have been revealed. And with no tricks left, I'm afraid your show has been cancelled. Permanently! Oh, my secrets have been revealed, you say? Don't make me laugh, boy. Mine is the true real magic. There are no secrets to reveal. Behold, ladies and gentlemen, the true power of the great Mysterious. Witness some magic far greater than Troop Gramarye's. Burn. Crumble. Fall to my furious flames. The great Mysterious will bring an end to you all. And now for the final heir to the Gramarye name. Right here, right now. You too shall burn. Huh? No, this isn't right. No, I didn't do anything wrong. No, it's not my fault. I'm not the one to blame. I'm the victim here. God! What? Ah! God! Stop! No! Ah! Curse you, Gramarye! Oh, he's dead. Curse those Gramaryes. It's all because of them. Even now they wound me. Curse them all to the abyss! Do you really hate us that much? Does your hatred run that deep? Deep enough to kill an innocent man? You're damn right! You have no idea what humiliations I had to suffer! Your grandfather, Menifee Gramarye, kicked me out after I got hurt practicing my magic. He said I was too unskilled, that I would mess up on stage. He threw me out of that troupe just because he was worried about his own reputation. Since I was but a child, it was always my dream to become a great magician. But that Menifee, he took it all from me! But that's no excuse. That's no reason to do something so evil. Magic is supposed to make people happy, not used as a means for murder. What's the big deal? I just used what I had available to me, that's all. I get it now. Attitude toward magic is why my grandfather kicked you out. You don't deserve to call yourself a magician! Don't deserve? I don't know about that. After all, you were completely taken in by my magic, were you not? If not for that lawyer over there, you would be on your way to prison as we speak. You're right. I didn't see through your tricks. You see? So in the end, Troop Gramarye was defeated by the great Mysterious. You're not fit to lecture me from on high, Trucy Wright. You don't even deserve to call yourself a magician, you naive greenhorn. Take that, Gramarye! You lose! If anyone needs to learn to let it go and move on, it's this guy. This court and my prison can both burn in the flames of my creation. Bailiff, take Mr. Ratons away. Bring a fire extinguisher just to be safe. Man, if that really is the end, there are like 30 things I still don't understand. What was the deal with the fake out if they were all like, huh, there was fire in the trick early on. if that trick happened early, somehow, what was the point of telling us it takes 2 people to crank this thing down, and that it was already all the way up, if that was something we weren't allowed to use ever? Why did everyone forget about the first shadow? Why did anyone believe that Trucy Wright would type this up and then sign it? Why did everyone believe us when we had no proof that he had anything to do with this document? Like, I get this was from Take-Two TV and one of his people did it, and this was his contract. So if this one has the same signature as this, it's possible that they could have been done by the same clipboard, but that's not proof. And why in the hell did they penalize me for saying it was magic when it could not have possibly been understaged by any stretch of the imagination? And how the hell did he find someone who looked exactly like he did when he was younger? And why did they keep the same poster without editing Mr. Rias out? And why were the prints on top of the panel covered in dirt? And how did he get stabbed through? Was it the court's opinion that he was stabbed through the stomach with a sword that was like 6 feet long, but that blood would only have showed up on one side of the coffin? And why was there no blood on his belly? I'm just left with so many questions.
It looks like we've reached the end.
I feel as though I've been watching a grand magic show. It was close, but we just barely made it through somehow. I didn't. I'm pretty convinced I died, for real. And I'm living in a fantasy world somehow, somewhere along the line. Huh? Why does Trucy look so down?
Miss Wright.
Yes, Your Honor? I'm about to announce my verdict. Could I see that wonderful smile of yours? That smile of a true entertainer, as I do? Yes, Your Honor. Now then, this court finds the defendant Trucy... That's weird. Don't do that. She's like horrifically traumatized. I don't know if you remember, but she was like in a hostage situation like a few months ago. I think she's allowed to feel a little down for a bit.
Not guilty.
Bravo! And good job with the magic as well. And what became of the third sword as well? Because all we had to do was find wherever Trucy put that, and then it would prove that there was another sword used. And if everyone was going to buy that the clipboard was Rayton's fault, why did we wait so long to use it?
Court is adjourned.
I'm so sorry, man. That case, a good solid 50% of it just didn't make sense to me. But it's over now, so let's just count our blessings and move on. I say
April 28th,
District Court Defendant Lobby number 3. Thank you for everything, Polly.
Oh, Trucy, grazie a Dio. Now you can open your show tomorrow, just as planned.
I assume that it means thank God. Yep, and it's all thanks to you two. Oh, but now that Mr. Rias is gone, I'll need to find somebody to replace him. Betty, I guess. I don't like the way she's looking at me.
Trucy, I'm so sorry about everything.
Hey, what are you apologizing for? Roger Wayne's used us. We're victims too. He even made me an accomplice to murder.
But, Betty, we have to take some of the blame for this too, you know. Even if we didn't know he was planning to kill Mr. Mystery, we did cooperate with him.
It's all my fault, isn't it? Neither one of you is to blame. The only one in the wrong is the person who used magic to commit murder, Roger Raytons.
Huh. Don't you think I know that? Say what you want, but don't think for a second that I don't still hate you.
Very convincing. I guess she really does hate me.
But, Betty, why? I used to be a huge fan of Trucy's.
Hey, shut up! I've always hated her.
Really? What if we hadn't seen Trucy's magic show? We never would have tried to become professional magicians ourselves, right?
Speak for yourself!
But, Betty, you still have our autograph from...
Just shut up!
Was she acting that way this whole time because she secretly loves Trucy? Wow, Trucy. I never knew that being the best could be so tough.
Come on, Bonny, we're leaving! We have to get ready for tomorrow's show.
You're really excited about performing with Trucy again, aren't you?
That's not true! So zip it, dummy!
I love those two so much. Polly, do you think I really am a naive greenhorn?
Huh?
No way. She's not. After all, you were completely taken in by my magic, were you not? If not for that lawyer over there, you would be on your way to prison as we speak. You're right. I didn't see through your tricks. You see? So in the end, Troupe Garmeray was defeated by the great Mr. Rias. You're not fit to lecture me from on high, Trucy Wright. You don't even deserve to call yourself a magician, you naive greenhorn.
Trucy, don't tell me you're taking what Rayton said to heart.
Well, maybe a little. I didn't see through his tricks, and I let myself be taken in by his magic. I can't trust myself anymore. Maybe he was right to call me a greenhorn.
You shouldn't take stock in his words.
He doesn't even know the first thing about you. I mean, like he was saying, people who don't know the first thing about your profession are the first to insult you about it. Huh?
You're a wonderful Grammar magician. You should be proud of yourself.
Thank you, Apollo. But what makes you say that? I know you're a wonderful Grammar magician because of this. We haven't even got to use it yet, so I guess we're getting at this because she thought on her feet very well. Take that! That? Oh, I get it. Thank you, Polly. I appreciate it. It's sweet of you to try and cheer me up.
Huh? Wait a minute. Did I get it wrong? Damn it!
Oh, it's because of the creed! Damn it! No! No, hang on. I can load the autosave. When was the last autosave? 3 p.m. When was that? Aha, that was 2 minutes ago! Get stuffed consequences! Aha! Because you never lost a smile. My grandfather's notebook.
The Grammar Creed. A true entertainer always keeps a smile on their face. When you performed your magic trick in court today, you showed the world your dedication to your troop's creed. Even through all the jeering, you kept a smile on your face and won the crowd over. You were everything Menifee could have hoped for in an heir. You're a great magician, Trucy.
A great magician?
Me? You really are. That's why you don't have to worry about what Rain said.
No, Polly, thank you. Still, I couldn't have done it without you. I would have lost my nerve if I'd been alone up there. But I was able to keep on smiling because of you.
Me?
I remember what you said to me in the detention center.
After all, you're sure you swapped the swords, right?
Yes, I remember doing it.
Then I just know it wasn't your fault, Trucy.
But how can you say that? We don't have any proof it wasn't me. I know you're a great lawyer, Polly, but
I believe in you, Trucy. And I believe in your skill as a professional magician. So I'm going to prove your innocence. Don't worry, you're going to be fine!
Your words were what kept me going.
And her words were what kept Bonny going. It's so sweet it all comes full circle.
Apollo, thank you. From the bottom of my heart. Now I can be everything I was meant to be.
Trucy's real smile is the best. I'm so glad I could help make that happen. Emma? I'm really sorry, Trucy. For everything.
But why?
Well, I wasn't able to convince Prosecutor Sadmati what a good person you are, and I had to testify against you, too.
You have nothing to apologize for. You were just doing your job.
You're too kind.
Oh, I don't know about... Huh? Is something wrong, Emma?
Oh! Prosecutor Sadmati, what are you doing here?
Detective Sky. Yes? That's Trucy's voice.
Yes?
I require your forensic expertise in order to close this case. Come, let us go.
Wait! Prosecutor Sadmati!
The trial is over, Mr. Justice. You and I are strangers once more with no further need to interact.
Strangers? Have you really forgotten all about me? What? You've really changed, Nayuta. Telling me to let it go and stuff. What happened to you?
Oh, lawyer of impure soul. I have nothing to say to the likes of you.
Are you serious, Nayuta?
Now, if you will excuse me. Man, he doesn't even fade out. He just blinks out of there.
There he goes.
They knew each other from way back when. Not unlike Phoenix and Edgeworth.
What was that all about, Apollo? How do you know Prosecutor Sadmati?
Let's just say we're old acquaintances.
Actually, I'd like it if you expounded a bit more than that. Acquaintances? It seemed like something more than that.
Yeah, well...
You don't like to talk about your past, do you? Because you always change the subject.
I guess I'll have to talk about it someday. But for now, come on, let's forget about the past and celebrate Trucy's future. Sure, if you say so. Hey, it's Mr. Wright. Put him on speakerphone, Apollo.
I'm glad we didn't have to see this call after we failed.
What's up, Mr. Wright?
Apollo! Trucy, what happened at the trial? Did you get a not guilty verdict?
Mr. Wright, slow down. Everything's fine.
Hi, Daddy. I'm okay now.
She was found not guilty in a very dramatic turnabout. Plus, we saved the office. It was a great victory for Apollo.
Oh, that's a load off my mind. I can't thank you enough, Apollo. Now I know I can trust you to hold down the fort anytime.
Me? Really? Thanks, Trucy, as well, while you're at it.
Yes, you.
And Athena, for that matter.
You're a full-fledged lawyer now in my eyes.
A full-fledged lawyer! I still can't wrap my mind around it. I can't even say it either.
Thank goodness you were there to take care of everything. And thank you, Apollo.
No need to go that far, boss. Especially not in front of everyone.
Oh, and by the way, I won't be able to make it to tomorrow's show, so I was hoping you could go. You'll do that for me, won't you?
Of course! I wouldn't miss it for the world. Full-fledged.
So Daddy asked you to come to tomorrow's show, huh? As my assistant, right?
No. He just asked me to go cheer you on.
Okay, then I'll be sure to save you the best seat in the house, Polly. The best
seat in the house? I really appreciate the thought, but
good! Then it's settled! That's in the flame zone, isn't it? Oh, April. Oh, we're gonna see a bit of the show, I guess. April 29th, Penrose Theater, stage!
Objection! I should have known!
Yes, in the guillotine, of course. Oh, no, in the coffin.
This wasn't what she meant!
Magical girl Trucy Wright will now perform her greatest illusion yet. There are no tricks or gimmicks here, ladies and gentlemen. This is real magic.
Oh, wait a minute. You're kidding, right? There is a trick or gimmick, right? I'm too young to die.
Now then, Mr. Hat, you know what to do with that sword.
No, wait, stop!
And that is how Trucy in Grimmery Land ends on a rousing high note, with a big round of applause and Polly's ear-splitting screams.
What kind of ending is that?
Payoff! All the jokes paid off. End! Ugh, an ordeal. I do feel really bad about that. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm over-apologizing, but I had really high hopes for this one, and I just bungled it all the way through. And there's a lot of things I still don't really understand that, like, well, it's not that I don't get their logic, but it's that usually I feel like their solution is, like, the third or fourth easiest to come up with. I already listed off all the things that I didn't really get, but man, I have no idea what the heck was the point of the stage lift if... Well, I just don't get it. Whatever. Let's start the next one, shall we? Wash our hands of this. But to be clear, the characters, the music, the character drama was all on fire. It was awesome. That was all really good. And the jokes, the humor was off the charts. And Bonny and Betty are forever in my heart. I kind of liked the twist of the twins twist better than the Raiden's twist. The Raiden's twist wasn't like... I didn't like dislike it, but the thing about a twist, especially in a mystery game, and I guess they don't all have to be this, but like when it gets me excited, it's when it's like, oh, that explains all of this, but that one was just like, what? So he found someone who looked exactly like him, and then what? Like it made everything else less probable, is how it felt. And as for the dragon set piece falling down, did they even mention that it wasn't hooked up to the pulley system backstage? Oh, well, I guess it's obvious if you look at it because there are only 2 winches. But even then, that again. Wait, but then they said that Betty remotely activated the dragon one. I have no idea how that works because she was understage. And I guess the remote for that was understage. So was that the only one with a remote activator? And the other 2 winches, you had to have someone manipulate it with the lever and buttons? We're on the next case already, and I still have no idea what was happening through that last one. Whatever. Let's start the next episode just so we can... the right of turnabout. We're definitely going back to Phoenix for this. Just so we can get ourselves hooked into something else before I lose my mind.
201.
201.
Got some more questions.
Oh, man. Things are already getting intense.
Sound the alarm! Prisoner 201's escaped!
Oh, golly. They've got a big old...
No, with Dad's back on the streets, things will be on the up and up for us.
Keep your voice down. You want that rebel hunter to find us or something?
Come on, we're small fries compared to... Huh?
Okay, so we're just getting into, like, ninja murderers and stuff. Are there 2 dead peeps? I've got questions, but they'll have to wait till next time on Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice because we're only doing the opening video. Oh, but now I'm hyped about this. And I can't wait to do more of the seance vision stuff, because that first one was, like, when they introduced any mechanic, they kind of take your hand through it, and you're sort of still figuring out how it works, so you don't really get to, like, get into a deep one, like, moment where you're comparing this bit of information that is new in the way it works with what you think the facts are. So I can't wait for the next seance vision. It's going to be super cool. I wonder who's going to return as our prosecutor here. Is Sadmati going to, like, fly back for this? Or is Rafa going to take up prosecuting? All those answers and more next time on Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. But here's to this next case going much better. But still, sign out of case 2. Had fun, in spite of losing my mind. Thank you so very much for coming around. Hopefully I will see you around. Next video on the channel is going to be some more Fireman's Regals as our Vernwind Assassins only run. Hopefully I will see you around. Admiral's going to be out of here now. Peace! Can we just ignore her insult? That's what he's doing now. He thought he was just standing here doing it by himself for fun.